You are now tuned into the 2-Minute Warning, a live stream community conversation pertaining to social and political issues and how we can collectively resolve them. Powered by the Westside Gazette.
Hello and welcome to the 2-Minute Warning. I'm your host, Perry Busby. The 2-Minute Warning is brought to you by the Westside Gazette newspaper, one of South Florida's oldest African-American owned newspaper that has been serving the South Florida area for the last 52 years. And so joining me tonight is the publisher of the Westside Gazette, my good friend Bobby Henry, and my brother, Mr. David Wright. How are you doing, my brothers?
Well, good evening, my brother. What you say, Dave? We going from coach to coast.
Coast to coast. Yes.
Yeah, Perry. I'm terrific and getting better, man. You know, really enjoying life. Yeah.
Good. It's been truly fantastic, Perry. We are so excited about tonight's show and everything else that's going on around the world.
Yeah, well, great. Glad to be with you. Glad to be with you guys this week. I was out last week. Still here in Beaumont, Texas. Still working. We have an election coming up this weekend, and so having the joys and the pains of being back home, you know how that can be.
Oh yeah.
Perry, give us a little backdrop on what's going on in Beaumont, man.
I would say it would be a mirror of what's going on in Fort Lauderdale to a great extent, and I would imagine what's happening with a lot in our local politics. One of the biggest challenges we're having right now really is turnout among young people and turnout among African Americans. And again, we're trying to understand whether or not it's an issue of people on the ballot or are people just fed up with the way we've been doing things.
You said something, Perry, that we really need to try to understand and educate our voters on. Here we are in Florida, you in Texas, and we ask the same question. And I think if we use the reason of deduction when it comes to try to analyzing what is happening, maybe we will come to find out that perhaps it weighs more on the people who are on the ballot than the people who are voting for those people on the ballot. You give a person something to vote for and they come out and vote. You know, so it's just something that we need to consider.
Yeah. Well, and balance that between, I would say, the fact that leadership is a reflection of its people. If we are the ones who, in this democracy, if we're the ones who choose our leaders, we have to ask ourselves, what role do we play in that? In some ways, I sort of think that I don't think that any of the people that we have went in with any bad intentions. But I think that when we look at over these last 50 plus years since the Voting Rights Act, do we really understand this game? And I don't mean to say a game, but do we understand the rules of engagement, the rules of this game of politics that we are engaged in?
Yeah, you go.
Well, again, it goes back to leadership, Perry. I think one of the main questions I would pose is, who are our young voters listening to? Who are they considering their leaders? And truly, are they following their leaders? Now, I know they're following somebody or something. But when it comes to their political future or the political future of their community, because we all know politics is local, and their state, and as well as the national government, who are they listening to and what is motivating them, regardless of who's on the ballot? Because there are other issues other than just the persons on the ballot as well.
Yeah, and I know we're supposed to be action oriented, if you will. We're supposed to not only editorialize and bring stuff to the front, but we should have some answers to those questions as well. And we tried to do that when we had our young folk on. The young folk gave us a glimpse into what they wanted and what they had to bring to the table. And now, so it's up to us to take that and allow them to shape it, and we put it out there. They told us off the bat they want to lead.
Mhm.
Not only that, they want to engage us in conversation so they will know how to lead. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. You know, and as I say, history, I think, sort of repeats itself. We, more so you guys, I'm going to call you guys older. You are my older brothers. But, you know, we were the leaders coming out of the civil rights. That was a young people's movement. When you think about Dr. King beginning to take the reins at 29, it was a young people's movement. And, you know, I guess I have to ask that in the sense that the parents really didn't lead. It was the children. And so now we find ourselves at a new juncture, sort of dealing with the same thing. And though maybe our elders at that time were not astute or or had very much experience with dealing with politics, we have to ask ourselves, I guess, as a whole. I mean, I think some of us do, some of us haven't. And if I'm gonna just be blunt, and I really have to be blunt at this time, this isn't a time where grandparents lead.
No.
And it seems as though grandparents are leading, parents are trying to find their way, and the kids are taking the forefront. So, you know, if we're going to really be strategic and look at this, I love my grandmother, but it was hard to get excited about something that my grandmother was doing. They sort of brought us along begrudgingly, and we found out the need, but we didn't go accepting. And I think it's in some ways hypocritical for us to not realize where we were at the same age in this, and help our kids understand in a better way, as opposed to not really trying to chastise them and say, well, what was wrong? Because we had those same issues, and let's not rewrite history. You know,
Okay.
because our kids are seeing us. I really do. I really think they're seeing us and seeing the way that we're doing this.
But in defense of some of our young people, we have seen incidents where they are active. Okay, when we talk
Yes.
about the Black Lives Matter movement, when we see a lot of injustice throughout the nation, we've seen them stand up. We've seen them protest. We've seen them organize. We look at Tennessee and we see where our young representatives there are actually doing it.
Justin and Justin.
Or speaking it
Mhm.
eloquently. So I have much hope for the future of our
Right.
young people. Unfortunately, they only get those platforms when there's some justice done. And
Yeah.
how often should we have that platform when it's about business? So,
Right. Yeah.
You know, Perry, you said something, and different times bring about different measures and different approaches to perhaps the same thing. Now, yep, our grandparents didn't really perhaps want to understand the PoliTricks that they were playing at the time. They didn't want to get caught up in that. They were too busy trying to survive, coming out of a system that was
Right.
that was designed to keep them down. So it wasn't until they were able to see some semblance of coming up that they said, okay, well, we can play this game too. Now, so yeah. So, and I'm saying that we need each other.
We do.
Yeah, we need each other, and I do believe that's what those young people were saying on the show, as brilliant as they were, and as articulate as they were, they had enough fortitude to say that we need y'all, and that's what I got from that. The fact that they need us now, how they need us and where they need us, uh, that may be the question that we ask ourselves,
Right.
to let them put us in, let them play chess with us and using us as a pawn or a rook or a
Right.
knight
Mm-hmm.
or a king.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. Yeah, we need to look at this board and these pieces that we're playing.
I want to say something here. I was reading something earlier, and our governor, uh, Ronald Dion DeSantis, uh, referred to our children as uh, child mutations, child mutants, basically mutants. When the lawmakers passed a treatment ban for trans minors, meaning they were not going to allow uh, what are those things that they use to such thing as puberty blockers or hormone therapy. I, you know, I am I'm torn. Um, First of all, for you to use a child and a mutant in the same sentence, that shows some kind of psychotic issue with me. And you're supposed to be leading us. And then, if you have an opportunity to assess a child, well, I don't want to play God, which is what he's doing, but just the fact for him to refer to those children as mutants, I take offense to that. I'm sorry. So
Yeah. Well, and even before that, I mean, I believe there was a measure that now they want to check to make sure young girls are having periods, and so uh, even before we get to mutants, let's respect our young ladies and our girls. For me, that is beyond words. That government would for especially for a party that says it wanted limited government, for now that limited government to really get into the draws of little girls, and so now we're going to ask who are the pedophiles. I think that's a pedophile.
Into the what?
The draws of little girls. Yeah, getting little girls' draws. I think that's a pedophile. That's a pedophile mentality, and let's call it what it is.
Okay. Did we say something about Gillian?
No, we didn't. And Perry, you just left Tallahassee.
Yeah.
We had some breaking news earlier today. You want to shed light on that?
Gillian, and I say his name. I kind of mess his name up.
Well, you can do the Gilliam. You can just lead into it.
That brother who should have been our governor, him. He was cleared on one charge, and there were some mistrials on the others. Now he came out of one side clean, but you know what they said. They said that we didn't get him on this chance, but we're gonna come back at him. But that in itself, to say we still stand a chance with our brother, as cloudy as it may be, the brother came through on one side and kind of hung up on the other, but he's coming out. Yeah. So
sometimes it's just good to live to fight another day, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
What is that? What does Hester say? Hester Samuels, one of our viewers says that is quite an accurate description. Getting into the draws of our girls.
Right.
Right on. That's where we are. So,
as if we don't have enough issues in the state of Florida. I mean, with my homeowners insurance, when we start talking about things that are really impactful. I mean, we just had all these floods here. We don't hear anybody bringing resources here to help folks out. And they know we have climate issues, especially here in South Florida. And people are talking about building up streets and building up properties to, kind of avoid some of what's already happening. I think our government needs to really be focused on the needs of the people.
Yeah, well, I think that went out when selfish, my selfish way of thinking came in.
Okay.
Y'all just get me in. Let me flip the script.
Yeah. No,
But-
and guys, to use that as an example, I-10 coming out of Florida into Texas. I don't mind giving Florida its props, but Florida probably has the best stretch of roads on I-10 because as you continue to go through each one of these poor ass red states, the roads are getting rougher. They're getting raggedy. I'm here in Beaumont, Texas, my hometown. You're gonna tap your front end.
Raggedy the mango scene.
It is, and so for all of this fighting, and I see Cheryl Smith from Dallas on here, 45 and just the amount of pretty much waste, and I'm beyond words that we don't even have good roads.
Okay. Stony the road we trod. Let's do this, man. We got some people that will be able to educate us on some of Florida's PoliTricks. Can I bring the first guest on?
Yes, please.
Sure.
This is now. This to me is the epitome of a fighting warrior for her people. Now I don't know if we have the video. I know we showed it on one show. I don't think we have it tonight, but it was good to see a sister, a mother, stand up against powers to speak truth to power about what they were doing to our children. Our next guest comes from Pompano Beach, Florida, and she's a mother. She's an advocate for children. She's been in the legislature, I think, since 2016, or did I miss it? Or was it more than that? She's been there for a while, but she's a staunch fighter. So if we can bring Miss Sister Patricia H. Williams on, please. Hey, a state representative from District 98. What's happening, Pat?
Rough. It's rough. It's rough. It's rough. We just walked off the floor no more than about 20 minutes ago. So I think Christine is en route to the airport or at the airport or rent a car. Her family's just arrived here. So we just beat down mentally and physically tired. That's where we are.
Okay, is Christine back there?
No, but let's continue this for now. Oh, okay, yeah, she is.
Okay.
So let me go ahead and do this now while I can see you, Christine. You know, this is one of our representatives, and she's actually from the area, if I'm not mistaken, from Parkland, and her name is Christine Hunchowski. I want to make sure I don't mess that one up now. But been in politics for many years. I think she moved to Florida in 2000 and was mayor of Parkland from 2016 to 2020, vice mayor of Parkland from 2014 to 2016, and commissioner. But I was just so impressed by your bio and all the activities that you've been engaged in. So I want you to come in and tell us a little more about it. State Representative Christine Hunchowski. Can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you so much. And for having me. My member, as I call her, Representative Williams. She and I have been in the fight. She's been in the fight up in the legislature longer than I have. But there's been so much for us to do, whether it's been about gun violence, property, protecting our kids, protecting our community. It's been quite a session for us, unfortunately.
So Pat, I'm sorry, State Representative, you said that you were tired. What is it? What is the most draining thing that you find? We'll just deal with today. We won't. Yeah.
Well, when I say we are mentally and physically tired, the numbers are 35 Democrats and 85 Republicans. And every bad bill they want to push across the table, it goes down the party line. And when you are constantly fighting day after day after day, and you see no win, it's mentally draining for you. As Christina mentioned about the gun bill, it started out after they had the Parkland shooting. They came in and they changed the law, and they said it was going to be at the age of 21. 3 days ago, they dropped it from 21 to 18. So now we can have our children walking in and getting a gun.
Yeah, we just saw some evidence of that here at Walmart 2 days ago.
2 days ago, yes.
Yeah, young people. I guess no more than 25, maybe. I think the guy was that. Yeah. So, oh wow. Well, what else? What else is it's the trickery of Florida PoliTricks? What else is happening? That we got the gun issue. We understand that. What else is out there that we have been perhaps bamboozled on, if you will?
Go ahead, Christine. I'll follow your lead.
I think one of the biggest issues is, we're up there to represent all the people. Everybody. Like people who haven't had the same experiences just dismiss any experience that wasn't there. We are not addressing things like property insurance. We are not addressing things like auto insurance is going up now as well. And we're dealing with all the issues that no one is asking about. The de facto abortion ban, removing a permit to carry a gun. I mean, we're dealing with so many issues. The bathroom issue, again, nobody's asking about that one either. And just so many issues that are not what are really impacting people's lives. Affordable housing, we've done a little bit, but it's going to take a while for that to kick in. And you mentioned earlier about the floods in Broward County. Where has the leadership been from the state to show up? You can't help people and solve problems if you're not showing up. Mm-hmm. And that's what's unfortunate.
Representative Christine and Representative Williams, what is it going to take? Do we have to just kind of take our shoe off and beat it on the table? Are we at a point now where, I mean, it's we got to throw it all in to just get some attention? I mean, we know what your constituents sent you up there for, and we know that you guys are outmanned when it comes to representation on the other side of the aisles. What's being done? Is there anything other than this the bill that was passed the other day? I think our governor signed off on it in Israel dealing with hate crimes. But is there anything else that's getting bipartisan attention?
Well,
I think the bad bills outweigh the good bills for us because we know the impact that it's going to have on the districts that we serve. Case in point, we have what they call now the Florida State Guardianship, which our governor is creating his own military force. We have $98 million out of the budget that's going to take care of that.
Wait a minute. Stop for 1 second. Say that again. Would you, Miss Williams? You said what is that?
He has created his own military force. They call it the Florida State Guardianship. And it's calling the taxpayers $98 million to do that. We already have our Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, but he wants his own. And he has the manpower for them to get that.
So now, how does this information get back to your constituents? How can we somewhat blow the whistle on everything that's totally out of order in Tallahassee?
I just don't know. I don't know. We are on the Florida channel. We both sent out newsletters to our districts. People just not paying attention. And
It's hard to ask people to pay attention to everything. People are working more than one job to make ends meet. They can't spend all day watching Florida channel. One of the biggest things we have is we have to have more balance in our government so that the bills have to go through a real rigorous process to get better. And there is some bipartisan stuff to it, but like Rep. Williams said, it's not. Some of the bad stuff is really outweighing some of the good stuff that's happening.
Let me just, Christina, we certainly appreciate you. You know, I see you're in a car, and we certainly appreciate you. Can you come a little closer to your mic? Yeah, there we go.
Sorry about that.
There you go. Now we got it. Now we got it. Yeah.
Okay, I have it's gonna sound like a silly question, but it's from what I see, and that is, if Democrats had the advantage that Republicans had now in the House, it's been my experience when Democrats have had that advantage, Republicans have always found a way to put a monkey wrench in those matters, some of it by rules, some of it simply by procedure. Are there numbers so airtight that those sorts of procedures and maneuvers just have no weight, or because I understand the fight on the merits,
Right.
but Republicans, when they are in the minority, they engage in another type of strategy and engagement. And I'm just wondering, can Democrats be open to looking at some different ways? Because I just believe that our people not only want you to fight, and I think that's where our people sometimes get fatigued. It's just that they don't understand the fight that you're fighting sometimes. So how would you respond to people who are having those issues?
If I could, right now, the problem is we're in a super minority. So the Democratic caucus unanimously voted against the rules, but the rules, they our votes implement their rules. Their rules determine what we can call a point of order on, what we can call out on. So we can. The rules are usually to help those in the minority, but because we're super minority, we can't have the numbers with the rules. So what we really need is to at least have some more balance in the numbers, so that you could get some Republicans to come with you and develop, because we have had, for example, on permitless carry, we had several Republicans join. The same thing on the bill that, thank God, is dead in the Senate, but passed the House, lowering the age of purchasing long guns to 18. So we could peel off some of the issues,
but not enough to make an impact.
Never enough to make the difference.
Right.
Okay. So we have rules on one side, and then we have those who make the rules based upon their selfish intent.
Yes.
So yeah. So now we find ourselves. Okay. And we were talking about this earlier. For us to understand, for voters to want to vote and to get engaged, when we see the rules don't apply adequately across the board for everybody.
Okay, case in point. We know in Broward, we lost 5 of our leaders that had to resign to run for a different position. The governor just had the rules to change. He don't have to resign to run for president or vice president. So he has hijacked the state of Florida so that he can control both ends. He can run for president and still hold the seat of the governor.
In fact, I'm glad you mentioned that because I was going to ask that very question. Since he has changed, where do you see that going in our politics in the future? I know he's using it for selfish gain. Do you think that it will just further deteriorate things, or how do we begin to maximize that? Because it was an open question then, and so now that it's here, how do Democrats and how do blacks respond to that?
Well, as of now, it's just you don't have to resign to run for vice president or president. That's what was in the bill. They still have the rules, and they are also changing the. Okay, we also voted on about the school board positions also, where you don't have to live in that area to run for that school board seat. So as they go, they make the rules to fit whatever they feel they want to make happen.
Yeah, usually what's happening is there's a situation that someone doesn't like, and so then we make a law to fix that situation, but it applies to everybody else, which isn't really the way you should be governed. But that's what's happening.
Okay. Let's have a civic lesson 101.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as a state representative, when it comes to getting laws passed, can you walk us through the process of what happens? Can we do that in a short time? Can we? So if a lay person, man, they didn't do this. We could have had this. We could have. Can you walk us through that so we can understand? Give us a brief synopsis.
Yeah. So what happens is we get an idea, we talk to our stakeholders, and we put it into drafting. And the bill drafting department helps us legally write it, and then we file the bill. When the bill gets filed, it then gets assigned to usually
a bill number, 3 committees.
Yeah, it gets a bill number, and then it gets assigned to about 3 committees, which means it has to get heard and approved in those committees before it can go to the floor.
Okay, wait, before that, those 3 committees is normally 15 members. Out of the 15 members currently, you would have 12 Republicans and 3 Democrats.
In committee.
Oh.
In committees.
Need the committee, so you send then a letter to the committee chair asking to put your bill on an agenda. And sometimes your bill will make the agenda, and sometimes it won't make the agenda.
It depends on the chair of the committee and if they feel that it's going to benefit them in any way.
So are committee assignments proportionate?
No.
They're all Republican.
They are Republican chairs, yes.
But with a 12, I'm trying to understand a 12-3 because I thought there.
It's 12 Republicans and 3 Democrats that's going to be assigned to that one committee.
And it's 3 of them.
It's 3 Democrats.
Well, 3 committees.
It could sometimes be 4, but it's never going to be enough Democrats to make a difference on
to overpower.
Right. And that's what I'm trying to understand. How do we get to 3? How is that proportionate?
Because we only have 35 members, and you have several committees that you have to divide the members up amongst us.
So that's what qualifies a super minority, meaning it's so little Democrat and it makes it. But let me ask you this: in the process of creating the bill, is there any bipartisanship in that, or should there be?
There can be. It depends what the bill is on. So expanding Medicaid, for example, that'll never get a hearing. I had a bill with universal background checks bills, red flag expansion, regulating ghost guns, that doesn't get a hearing. But then other bills, like what Representative Williams had on a pilot program for year-round school, that got a hearing and it made its way through the process. I had a bill regarding mental health and psychologists, and that made it through the process. So it all depends on
Yeah, I
what
saw
the
that.
issue is.
What about infrastructure?
Infrastructure is often pretty bipartisan. And
Yeah.
that's the environment, any environmental issues.
Okay, now, so we have these three committees. We have these bills that have been drafted and brought before the committees. In the committee, the chairman, they vote on it. And okay, what's the next step?
So,
Then it goes.
yeah, go ahead,
What?
Pat.
Then it goes to the floor. And you have to present that same bill that has been approved by those three committees on the chamber floor. And the House side has to have the same bill on the Senate side in order for it to actually be approved to go to the governor's desk to be signed off. And then the governor still has the opportunity to veto that bill. So
And if
they
you
in
wanna-
charge.
Yeah, if you want to be creative, though, also, if I could just interject one point. So a chair could say, I'm not hearing your bill, and that happens a lot. But sometimes your bill might only make it through one committee and not the others because it's run out of time. Once your bill has been heard in one committee, you can look for other bills to amend your bill onto that bill. And so it would pass in another bill.
Right. And a lot of times what they do, they would take the Democrat bills and put their name on it and add it to something else, and it becomes their idea of their bill.
Which is a win. And
It's a win, yes, and 75% of the time, that's how our bills get pushed forward. But our names are not on it, but it's passed because we know the impact that it will have on the people that we serve. That's not a problem. My name don't have to be on it, long as it passed.
Okay. Now, so
okay. I was going back to the amendment. Explain that once again about the process for amending, because I do know that, if we're going to tuck something in there, wouldn't it be wise, I guess, to tuck something that they don't like to something that they're trying to pass?
Listen, it's going to be something they do like, because you have to get somebody's approval to amend it onto the bill. And if it's something leadership doesn't like, the bill
it's not going to.
So it does have to be. But I've had bills before where the Senate dropped the ball. And so I had to get the bill amended into another bill that would pass the Senate and the House. So it is something you can use. They do sometimes take amendments. Representative Williams has had her bills amended into other bills and her bill passed the floor. It's kind of a way to just have another avenue if you're running out of time. But again, nothing will pass that is not
leadership
that leadership doesn't agree with.
Right.
So let me ask you this, and what are the chances of having a Democratic chair on a committee? I mean, is that
Zero.
on a super minority? It's zero,
It's
right?
zero. It has never happened in all the years I've been there. It has never happened.
Zero.
okay,
Our
so
seats are in the back of the chamber, and we are not a chair or a vice chair of any committee in the House. The Senate is a little different. I believe Democrats are vice chairs in the Senate, but not in the House.
Okay, so here we are, young folk, and for those who are aspiring to be leaders, if you want to fight, if you like a fight, now you understand what you are up against, and now you can prepare yourself. And a lot of times we go into situations unprepared, and we get shocked and we become frustrated. So for our voters, an educated voter, if you know what you're voting for, then you understand the process. You can make better decisions, and we can begin to orchestrate a team for what we need. So you mentioned ghost guns, State Rep. what is a ghost gun?
So it's a gun that you can print with the
You got to come closer to the mic.
Sorry. A ghost gun is a gun that you can print with a 3D printer, and you
Okay.
don't have to go through a background check, and it doesn't have a serial number, or you can buy the parts online and build it yourself. And
Okay.
then you also do not go through a background check, and it doesn't have a serial number.
And is it detected through a medical detector?
The ones that are printed are not necessarily, because they could be plastic. But the ones you can purchase online the parts for, yeah, it would be metal.
Okay. So let me ask this question: have either of you amended a bill or got something you wanted to get passed? Have you been able to do that? And even though you might not have gotten recognition from it, but it has to be a moment where you have felt like you achieved something.
Well, I wanted the year-round school, and I wanted the year-round school because 46% of our students are not reading on grade level. And I know, as being the ranking member on education committees, that this speaker was putting a lot of money into the educational silo. In order for them to do those charter schools, the private schools, they were pumping money into that area. And because I knew that they were pumping money in there, and I was trying to figure out a way that will benefit the kids that we're responsible for, I asked and I put the bill in. And once I put the bill in, the person that's carrying the educational bill itself, they liked that idea, and they took my bill and inserted into what we call a committee bill. So the bill that I started was tucked inside of that, and the Florida Educational picked it up and gonna fund it themselves. So the bill is gonna pass. It passed through the floor already. So they're just waiting for the governor to sign off on it.
Okay.
And Representative Christine, I know you're in your car. If you have an interior light, that would definitely help. I know you're leaning forward, and I know, you got family coming in and all of that great stuff, but that will truly help. Now, we know in every facet of life is about relationships. How is that working on the Hill? I mean, we know we have this, in my opinion, a radicalized party, but how can you build relationship with people across the aisles to continue to help get those things in?
I think it's all about talking about ourselves like people, talking about where we live, our families, positive and negative experiences we've had in life that have kind of shaped how we look at things. Also, when I hear people talking about, well, I don't understand why you guys want things this way, I talk about personal stories to explain to them that that's great that you think all the issues are because the family isn't intact, but what about the family where the dad was killed? Now what? And what are we doing to help those people? What about the children who've had, adverse childhood experiences really young? And then we expect them to be performing in school like that never happened. And I just feel like the more we humanize a lot of these policies, like when you talk about policy, it seems so remote. It seems theoretical. And just kind of talking about those personal stories, I think at least helps to connect on a human level where, people then start sharing a little bit more about what's maybe not so perfect in their lives. And you sometimes do find common ground.
Well, I mean, it's. I mean, Christina, that's very, very nice that you said that, but it's obvious that ain't working. Not
Yeah.
in this, not at this level.
Well,
Listen, power is power in the end, right? And
right.
power is in
Mhm.
numbers. And until the numbers change, the power structure isn't going to change.
Okay.
And,
So,
and, and you heard your governor say you ain't seen nothing yet, and they
Yeah.
mean just that.
hmm So here we have. That's what I'm saying. Here we are. We got Christina. You know, I'm. Oh, my heart is aching. And Patricia, I love the kids. You stood up so admirably before the Tin Man. He didn't have a heart. They don't appear to have a heart. So how? And I understand. Okay, I'm about to ramble now, but I understand when you said you're tired, you're physically drained, you're spiritually beaten, and so I understand that when you're dealing with a tin man or a tin machine with no heart, how every day after day after day, how do you guys muster to get up and do it again?
Because we understand that we were put in these positions by the people. We have to continue to fight. We don't have a choice. We are all we got.
Mm.
And a lot of times it may not be the one that's pushing the agenda, it's the ones that's standing beside them and around them that the people pricks their heart, or what we are saying prick their heart, and give them a kind of change of mind. Um,
Yeah.
we are the wall. We are that wall. We all we got right now.
It's an honor to be here. Like, people wanted us to be here to be a voice for them. When we were discussing the bill that was trying to lower the age to 18 to buy a long gun, I talked about what happened at Stoneman Douglas in the shooting. And I said, we always say we never forget, but we do forget. And I literally said to them on the floor, and I'm here to remind you. And that's what we all are. We're here to remind them of the people in our communities and what they're going through. And even if we're not getting the difference in the votes right now, we are here to remind them and hopefully get people, when we go home, engaged more so that we can work to change these numbers.
I know it sounds like a reality check to a tin man doesn't really mean much, but I do get it, and I know we have people. I was just going to say it like this: when you stroke their egos and make them feel like they've accomplished something, sometimes you can find a way to get your way or make it appear as if, like you said, Representative Williams said that, well, my name doesn't have to be on the bill. As long as we are presenting great bills in front of folks, somebody's going to want to get it passed and take credit for it. So that has to continue. But what else can we do from a community standpoint? I believe South Florida has a lot of leverage. How can we help project that in Tallahassee?
I think a lot of times when they hear and they are getting these emails and people are calling their office and making these complaints, this is not something we asked for. We need help on insurance. We need help on paying my mortgage. We need help. Whatever they are calling about and need help about, they need to call their Republican office and let them know that these are things that we need. This is the help we need. We're constantly asking them, who asked for this bill? The people, this is not something the people have asked for. The people are crying out for help. This is our story that we're constantly telling them and reminding them. The people put us here, and we need to listen to the people. But when they're only hearing us 35, they turn a deaf ear. But when the news meter is hitting them when they're getting these emails that's hitting them, when they go back to their district and people are not happy with some of these votes that they put across the table, some of these bills that they are pushing, they start to have a different tune. They'll come back and they want to make it seem like this is an idea that I came up with. But
Yeah.
if we don't say anything, they just feel like this is something that the people want. The people didn't know that they wanted this. That's crazy. They know enough to vote us in and bring us here. They know what they want. They know what they're looking for.
Well, I see Sonia Robinson calling them liars. So that's
I did.
you know, yeah. And we're getting close to the hour. Yeah, we can do a lot of things, but one of the main things that will happen. Okay.
Well, we got a comment from Pastor Samuels, and that I think that raises a very important question, because to get your base and others fired up, we want to know some of the bills that they're rejecting or reversing the decisions on. And that's what Hester asked here. Has there been a specific bill that's something that may have been near and dear to you that Republicans have just basically reversed or turned down or turned a deaf ear to, that you felt your constituent base would just lose their minds, would go all out on?
Well, I'm going to go back to that year-round school. Before I actually put that part of the bill in, they just flat out was going to give everybody a $8,000 voucher. If your child was attending school from pre-K to 12 years old, you'll get a voucher. If you're a millionaire, you get a voucher. Wherever you want to take your child or send your child to school, they would be able to do that. We called, had people to come, talk to them. All Divine Nine just flooded the place every week. First was AKA, then the Deltas, then everybody was coming up there, sitting down, going to their office and meeting with them to let them know the impact that would have on our school, our public school system. And after 3 weeks, after so many calls, after so many meetings, eventually they all of a sudden decide that we're going to put additional money into the budget just in case this does not work. They wasn't going to do that beforehand. They had made up their mind. This was what they're going to do. They want to make sure that all those private schools can get that money. The public school would have been gutted. They had a change of heart. Now they put additional money in the budget just in case the numbers that they put out does not work. Now they have additional money to cover themselves just in case. If the Divine Nines did not come, they were not hearing us. If the different organizations did not come on the Hill and talk to these people, they were not hearing us. But the community heard our cry. And they came to Tallahassee to see these people. That was one of the things that they just changed recently. Then we have a lot of people. I have a lot of people calling my office about not being able to pay their insurance, these high insurance premiums that they came up with. The Republican has written a blank check to this Republican, the insurance companies. In his mind or their mind, they're gearing up to campaign. And all of these organizations and groups that they can help will be able to give them campaign funds and take them through this campaigning cycle. They're not hearing the cry of the people.
So that's an alert to all the HOAs across South Florida and everyone who's impacted, especially with these insurance bills. Wow.
Well,
we knew this was going to be a tough show. Unfortunately, Representative Chowsky had to leave. But kudos to her. Kudos to the relationship and what you guys are doing for us up there and on the Hill. We're gonna just go ahead and do a roundtable right now before we close out this show. I'm gonna Representative Williams. I'm really just gonna let you kind of. I can hear the frustration. I mean, if there's anything else that you just want to vent or let loose, hopefully this will land on some ears, on some individuals that have the fortitude, that have the organizations, that have the energy to want to come and assist and help galvanize these communities throughout the state so that we can really put a dog in this fight that can help us to make some changes in some facet or another until we can get past this super minority. Is there anything you want to say in closing that can help us focus?
Anybody that can vote, anyone that has a voice in the community, the infighting that the Democratic Party is having right now, it needs to come to a stop. We all need to come together, all boots on the ground right now. Your governor told you that you haven't seen nothing yet. And they tell us they do stuff because they can. So if we can't come together right now, we're all gonna be back in slavery.
Ooh. Okay.
Say that again.
Ooh.
If we don't come together, we're gonna be back in slavery. They have stripped books, banned books, taken language out of books, don't want history to be told. If you don't fit in that little box that they have created, they come after you. Different organizations. First, it started out with the LGBTQ. Then they started out with the Black community. Now they after Mickey. Who else? What else?
You mean Mickey's not safe anymore?
No.
Oh man.
Okay.
I know. The
women's under attack. You know, it's every day is something different. A different organization. We all need to band together and stand firm. Mm-hmm. In order for us to take down this monster, we all gonna have to come together.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, Perry, I'm going to hand it off to you, my brother.
Don't hand me a hot mic like that.
Representative Williams, we thank you so much for being on the show, as well as our other representative, our dear sister Christina Hanchowski. You know, I can mess up some names, but Brother Perry, any comments to our state rep before we get ready to close out?
Well, thank you for cooling that hot mic, because the representative just really set us on fire at the end here, and I concur. I thank you, Representative Williams. I know you've been here supporting the 2-minute warning on a number of occasions. All have been important, and this is no exception. And just want to say thank you for enlightening us on the process, and thank you for your support, your encouragement, and leadership. And know that our prayers are with you, because it can get weary. Leadership is a weary role. But I do hope that you will come back, because in your closing remarks you went past something that is very important, and we spent this time talking about the governor. But this afternoon, as we were preparing for this, you hit on the subject that we were talking about, and that it's not the elephant, it's the donkey we're gonna have to deal with. They say the elephant in the room, but we got a donkey in here too. That is kicking and bucking and breaking stuff up for us, and we need to get that straight internally. And thank you for saying that quiet part out loud.
And Mr. Perry, let me go back to this part. When we're up here fighting, they have the numbers to the point where if they don't want to hear us debate on certain bills, they only give us X amount of time. You got 10 minutes to say, out of 120 members, you got 10 minutes to talk about a subject. So that's so that we can't tell the story. We can't get the information out to the people. And for me, I hold pastors to a higher standard. Pastors, we need you. I remember a time when there was a problem in the community, a group would come together, and that problem was solved. It's now this, if you're not in this group, you're not in this group, you're not part of this group, you're not, we are this, I'm telling you, Tallahassee is awful right now. If we are all these little groups, 2 or 3 don't join together. I know the Bible says where 2 and 3 join together, there he will be in the midst. But we need to get it together.
Let them 3.
We needed to get together. You know, it's just, they told us that we haven't seen nothing yet. And they have shown us that they mean just that.
Okay, here we go.
Thank you again, Representative Williams.
In order for us to beat back this monster, every leader in government has a financial base. We need to find out where are the finances coming from that keeps this guy in office. Who are the lobbyists? Where is the money's coming from? And once we find out that, then we, the people, can determine where we will spend our monies at. We need to understand that we have allies across other nations. If we tell our friends in different countries, don't come here, you're not safe in the state of Florida. We as a people have work to do, and we can do it. Now, a first lady once said, a good leader inspires people to have confidence in the leaders. A good leader inspires the people to have confidence in the leader. A great leader inspires the people to have confidence in themselves. So this is what a leader has to do. You have to inspire the people to understand that we can get something done.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do that,
and we can do it. We can do it.
Eleanor Roosevelt said that. So I leave us with that thought. And we have to do it. I don't know where that noise is coming from.
Well, out of all of the Democrat leaders, the representatives will be out as of next week. We will be traveling to and from, letting people know some of the things that we have been through during this session. Hopefully, the Democratic Party will open their eyes and be willing to stand up. That's what they did with Abram in Alabama.
Stacey?
Yes.
In Georgia?
They did it in Georgia.
Okay. Well,
And I know I have confidence that we could do it here in Broward.
Yeah.
In the state of Florida.
we can definitely take a page out of her playbook. That's for sure.
Okay. Miss Williams, we certainly thank you and appreciate every time you come on. And as Perry has said, we're praying for you and the others.
Please do. Because that you know, one thing about African American women, there's something wrong with this mouth, and when they say stuff, it just goes off. That's all we got right now is our voice. We can't outvote them, so we just tell it. We just say it. And I depend on the prayers that's put forth for me. And I feel that somebody's heart gonna be pricked to help the people through some of those prayers that's put forth.
Okay. All right. And make sure you relate to Christina.
Yeah.
We certainly appreciate her coming on, and we understand that she had to leave. So we thank you so very much. And good night, everybody. God bless, and we'll do it again. So
Have a good one. Thank you.
Good night.